going to draw a circle around the sounds that exist in English. For example, this sound right here, a bilabial nasal. This is the M sound. For example, mother, right? Then I'm going to draw parentheses around this sound, the labial dental nasal. This is articulated, for example, when you have an M before a labial dental fricative like an F sound. For example, on the word emphasis. You don't say emphasis, but emphasis. You pronounce the M labiodentally with your bottom lip against your top teeth, and then you pronounce the F. Emphasis. Then you have the alveolar nasal. Like in nose. Let's circle around that one. And finally, in English, you have a velar nasal. The velar nasal is represented by the letters NG. It's an sound, for example, at the end of the word sing. And also, it's what happens to the N sound when it's articulated before a K or G sound, which are the velar plosives. For example, if you say finger, you don't say finger with an alveolar nasal. You're going to say finger with a velar nasal. Okay, let's go. Oh, these parentheses I drew around the labiodental. This means that the sound is not actually recognized by native speakers as a sound in and of itself. It's like an alternative to the bilabial sound, right? And the brain doesn't even register the difference. This is what's called by linguists an allophone. You have a different way to pronounce one sound, but that difference in how you articulate it doesn't make a difference in meaning, and people will actually swear that they are hearing the same sound. Unless they're trained, unless they have a very good ear. But they will not make a distinction in meaning. If I say emphasis with a labiodental nasal, or if I actually over-articulate it and say emphasis, nobody will hear different words. It will sound the same to them. There will be no difference in meaning. There will be a difference only in sound. So that's what the parentheses around the labiodental nasal mean. Okay, let's move on to the plosives. Okay, we have a bilabial plosive. As you can see, many of the symbols in the International Phonetic Alphabet actually use the Latin alphabet letters, because usually these letters are used to represent these sounds in most European languages. Okay, so this symbol right here that looks like a P, the bilabial plosive, like, for example, pipe or apple. Next up, we have the bilabial voiced plosive, B, like in baby. When a sound is voiced, you will feel, if you put your hand against your Adam's apple and you pronounce the sound B, you will feel a vibration. That means your vocal cords are vibrating. When you pronounce like in pie or B like in baby, your lips are doing the same thing. But in one case, your vocal cords are vibrating, B, and in the other, they are not. Let's move on to alveolar plosives. All right. Here we have t and the voiced equivalent d. We have t like time or get, and d like dime or loved. Next up, we have, oh, let me circle those. Time, d, dime. Next up, we have the velar plosives. We have k like kitchen or g like get. Okay, let's move on a little bit to the left. Right here, we have what is called a glottal stop, which is basically a glottal plosive. But I'll give you an example for this one at the end. Whoops, let me undo that. I didn't mean to do that, to draw a red line down there. Okay, so let's take a look at the fricatives. In English, we have labiodental fricatives, voice and unvoiced. We have f like in 5, and we have v like in victor or victory. Next up, we have dental fricatives. We have th like in think, and we have th like in mother or the or though. Sometimes these are actually pronounced with your tongue between your top and bottom teeth, like I do when the sound is at the beginning of a word, like think and though. Sometimes the sound is pronounced with the tongue against the back of the teeth, like usually this happens when I pronounce the word, the sound in the middle of a word, like father. I don't really say father with my, with the tongue so forward, but father. Next up, alveolar fricatives. We have s like sink and z like zoo. Then we have postalveolar fricatives. We have sh like shampoo, and then we have zh like pleasure, sh like passion, zh like pleasure. What next? Well, if we move on a little to the right, we have this sound, which is either a glottal fricative or a glottal approximant. This is a sound. It's an aspiration, like for example in the word hot, or if you're from Georgia, in the word vehicle. Otherwise, if you're not Southern, you're probably, or from other parts of the states, you're probably going to pronounce this sound usually at the beginning of a word, like hot or high, etc.